Hi everybody, welcome to the Edge Designations CFA Level 1 2023 introductory video. My name is Russell Jude and I head up the Edge Designation CFA programs, all for CFA Level 1, 2 and CFA Level 3. What I plan to do for this particular video, which we call our introductory video, is have a look at CFA Level 1 from 2 points of view. Number one, I want to handle CFA Level 1 from the CFA point of view, looking at it from how the CFA Institute treats CFA Level 1, how they handle CFA Level 1, and what you can expect from the CFA Level 1 program. Number two is looking at CFA Level 1 and CFA in general from an Edge Designations point of view. That's us, what we can do for you, what we offer, etc., etc. So, but first and foremost, out of respect for the CFA Institute and their program, we will handle the CFA side of things first. Edge Designations is a CFA prep provider. As per the new guidelines, I'm sure everybody's aware, we're not allowed to say that we are a preferred prep provider. Those have all gone out of the window, and what's happened now is that there's a group of prep providers that provide prep materials for the CFA and for the candidates, and that's where we find ourselves. Okay, what I want to do first and foremost is let's take a look at what you can expect from the CFA Level 1 program stroke exam. I'm going to handle the exam first just to give you a little bit of an indication of what you can expect and what's changed a little bit from what was there in the past. Okay, first and foremost, it's important to remember that the CFA exam on all three levels now is completely CBT. Okay, and what CBT means is computer-based testing as opposed to paper-based testing, and everything is now done on the computer. As a result of that, what they've done, okay, is that they have reduced the time. I'm sure that for those that have been in the system perhaps for a little bit longer than they would have liked to, due to things like COVID, for example, would have been used to, may have been used to paper-based testing and the old system. The old system, okay, used to be a longer exam, which was a full day exam experience. You would write a morning paper and an afternoon paper. The morning paper was 180 minutes, okay. The afternoon paper was 180 minutes, so those are 3-hour papers, okay, and with a bit of a 2-hour break in between. It was quite a long day that the candidates had to go through. What's happened now as a result of the changes going computer-based testing is those old morning and afternoon sessions are are now gone. They've reduced the time of the exams, and the exams now at 135 minutes. 135 minutes in terms of an exam, 2 hours 15, and again remember, it's all computer-based testing. Gone are the days of a nice 2-hour break in between. You've got a 30-minute break in between, it's optional, and then you can move on to your paper 2. We no longer refer to the papers as the morning and the afternoon paper. Sometimes you'll hear some of the prep providers talking about the morning paper and the afternoon paper. That's probably because we've been in the system for so long, and yeah, that's how we used to refer to them. But now we call them exam session 1 and exam session number 2. Okay, exam session 1, okay, first and foremost, you'll come into the exam room, okay, and you will, for 30 minutes, you'll have what we call the pledge tutorial on how the system works, and CFA are a big fan and they love their surveys, so you're very likely to get asked to do the survey as well. You start your exam, you've got 135 minutes for exam session 1, remembering guys that in CFA Level 1 and 2, it's all MCQs. Okay, let's go back to level 1. MCQs at a CFA level are A, B's, and C's. In other words, there's 3 options that you've got. 135 minutes, you've got 90 multiple choice questions. Now, if we just have a quick look over here and we say, okay, 90 multiple choice questions, and how long have we got? The maths is nice and simple. Okay, well, you got 135 minutes, okay, to do 90 multiple choice questions. Okay, and the maths unfortunately does not work too much in our favor. Okay, and what you find is you've got 90 seconds per question. Wow. Okay, which is relatively quick. There's no time to mess about. Very doable. But no time to mess about. You've got to get involved in the question, get started, get in, get out, and move to the second question. What's fantastic about CFA Level 1 particularly is that each question of your 90 questions, okay, is completely different. In other words, one question might be dealing with a certain concept, okay, next question is something completely new. So if you kind of like you weren't sure of the first question, you didn't know what that was about, you move on to the second question, forget about that first question, it's done, it's gone, is what it is, and you can move on to something brand new and hopefully something that you're more familiar with. Okay, in terms of what gets examined per exam session, okay, we're going to see as we go through this particular video, okay, and I'm going to take you through the particular topic material. CFA Level 1 and Level 2 for that matter cover exactly the same 10 topics. Okay, so the 10 major topics that we handle in Level 1 and in Level 2. Okay, and 4 of those topics get handled in exam session 1, and the remaining 6 topics get handled in exam session 2, but I'll take you through those a little bit more as we go through this particular video, as we move to the topic material itself. Okay, you write your exam session 1, okay, you take a bit of an optional break, 30 minutes, you come back, you do exam session 2, and it's a little bit of a rinse and repeat, same story, 90 questions, 135 minutes, 90 seconds a question, and boy, have you got to move. Okay, again, topics covered now. There are going to be slightly more topics covered in the afternoon session, because they are the slightly smaller topics that what you experience in exam session number 1. So you have got 4 topics that you cover in the exam session 1. You write them off. You don't come back and do those again in exam session 2. Exam session 2, you come and you've got your remaining 6 topics that you need to cover. Okay, that's a brief look at your exam, just particularly for those that may have been in the system for a little bit longer than they would have preferred or liked, may have seen PBT, paper-based testing, but to be honest, as we move into 2023, we're not finding too many candidates are on that old of a system going that far back. Okay. We move over here, just a brief look at Level 1, Verse 2, Verse 3. Level 1 is very factual based. Okay, you got to know your facts, you got to know your formulas. Each question is a separate question. You get in, you get out, you do the question, you do the answer, and you move on, and away you go. Level 2 becomes a little bit more involved, more detailed, more processes, okay? And Level 3 is the final level, a lot of judgment, integration involved over there, far more detailed strategy. You really got to get into the work as you move through that. Okay, but again, we'll work on Level 2 and 3 at a later point. No need to worry about that one just yet. We come over the page over here, guys, and now I want to just talk very briefly about the various. We mentioned that there were 10 topics altogether. I'll give you a bit of a breakdown of that as we go. Okay, and we look over here. Okay, and ethics and professional standards. And it's not your first one, by the way. I put it over here as your first one. But interestingly enough, CFA Institute have moved ethics, which has always been the very first and the header for the syllabus. It's now moved down to right to the bottom. It's the footer. Not sure why that happened. Okay, but no less important. No less important. But just in terms of its placing, I don't know why it got perhaps a seat at the naughty table, and it's gone right down to the bottom of the syllabus, but still there. Okay, so what CFA have done is there are, if we look over here, guys, there are 10 topics, 4 functional areas. So we break the 10 topics down into 4 functional areas. Ethics has got its own topic, own functional area. Okay, Look at the exam weighting of ethics. Ethics is big, 15 to 20% of your exam. It carries a massive, massive weighting. Okay. And it's its own functional area as well. Remember, in exam 1, okay, we will be doing functional areas 1 and 2, and exam session 2 we'll be doing functional areas 3 and 4. Okay, in terms of functional area 1 and 2, which is exam session number 1, okay, ethics is there, 15 to 20%. What that means, 15 to 20%. Okay, now in terms of your questions, remember, okay, there were 90 questions in exam session 1, okay, and another 90 questions in exam session 2. You have a total of 180 questions across both exam sessions. Now, if you want to say, well, how does that 15 to 20% in terms of ethics relate? Well, you would take, I'll just do one of the calcs for you over here. It's 180 MCQs in total. On the bottom end, low end, you've got 15%, and on the high end, you've got 20%. Okay, so on the bottom end there, you've got your 27 questions, which is 180 marks in total times 15%, and on the 20%, you've got as much as 36. Okay, and that's how we get to the total amount of questions. CFA don't work with an exact exam weighting. They used to for CFA Level 1. They moved away from that, and now they work in bands, stroke ranges for that exam weighting. There we go. Okay. What I've given you over here, which is interesting, you might say, well, what's this exams? What's this average thing that you put over here? What I do is I just average it somewhat. It's not, and if you say, well, that's not a perfect average, 30 doesn't average perfectly between 27 and 36. You could do a little bit better being a CFA charter holder yourself, and I concede. But what I've done is I've just said, well, let me just think around about how many questions there's likely to be, and I'll work on 30. Yes, the actual average, I think, is 31 and a half. So, okay, so just remember this little column over here in my table is my stuff. That's Edge's stuff. We just believe that that's approximately how many questions you are likely to get. I've got to put a bit of a peg in the ground. I can't work with averages. I can't work with ranges. When we set our practice papers for you guys, we come up with actual numbers, as does everybody. We have to do that, of course, and there are your numbers. And remember, guys, this thing I've just now highlighted in yellow, that is our own edge estimate. It bears no relation to what you're going to for sure get in the CFA exam. And other prep providers may say, well, we would give more weighting to ethics. That's fine as well. Okay, and that was the first one. That's ethics. Then we move to tools as the next major functional area. Tools is made up then of its own 3 topics. You've got quants, you've got economics in there, and you've got financial statement analysis. Those are your 3 big ones over there. And you can see they carry quite significant weightings. Quants 8 to 12%, economics 8 to 12%, and financial statement analysis is your second biggest, which will please a lot of the CPAs, CAs, accounting people. Investment people are not so chuffed with such a large allocation towards financial statement analysis. Okay. Then you come back and you write your afternoon paper, which then covers functional areas 3 and 4. Functional area 3 is portfolio management and analysis. Okay. There you've got corporate issues. Corporate issues is a relatively new topic in name only. Okay, it used to be called corporate finance. There you get 8 to 12%. And portfolio management, you get 5 to 8%, slightly smaller than some of the other exam weightings. Okay, then your final functional area is your assets. And here we break down into our 4 asset classes. There's your equity, there's your fixed income, you've got derivatives, and you've got alts in there as well, alternative investments. And you can see equity and fixed income, those get the higher weightings of 10 to 12. Derivatives and alts get slightly lower weightings of 5 to 8%. And that brings us to our total 10 topics overall. Ethics is 1, quants, economics, financial statement analysis, corporate finance or corporate issuers, portfolio management, and then my 4 asset classes: equity, fixed income, derivatives, and alternatives. And that makes up your 10. Keep in mind, of course, that for CFA Level 2, those functional areas will be exactly the same again, no changes whatsoever. CFA Level 3, well, you're going to get quite a couple changes there. Okay. Let's just talk a little bit in general about the exam itself. At this point in time, where we stand at the time of recording of this particular video, Feb and May windows for 2023 have been released. So it's 14th of Feb, Valentine's Day. I hope it's good luck for people, to 20th of Feb, 16th of May to 22nd of May for the May window. We haven't yet got the dates. They have not yet at this point been released. They will be relatively soon for August, and then followed November. Okay. What you notice, you got exam windows, 14th of Feb to the 20th of Feb, slightly longer than a week. Now, what's this exam window? All that means is that the CFA Level 1 exam for Feb 2023 will run across a certain period from 14th of Feb to 20th of Feb. And what that means is that people can take the exam at any point in time over that period. Or when you register for your exam, you will also need to register for an exam date. You will pick your date from the 14th of Feb to the 20th of Feb. What date will you get? That will depend upon CFA's availability. Okay. Of course, the earlier that you register, the more likely you are to get the dates that you would like, because they do fill up quite quickly. Okay. We talk about calculator policy. Okay. Calculator policy, we've got 2 calculators essentially. One of them is the Texas Instruments. That is the most commonly used calculator. Okay, most people are using the Texas Instruments. Okay, and most of the prep providers teach off the Texas Instruments. So if you haven't yet bought yourself a calculator, or perhaps you're not in love with the HP 12C, and some people are, they love their own the 12C, which is also fine. Okay, if you haven't yet got one of those, my advice then would be, please go ahead and get yourself a Texas Instruments. Those ones tend to be the ones that are used significantly more, and as I say, by most of the prep providers. So yeah, please go ahead and use it and purchase that one. No stress at all if you haven't. Okay, and you've got you decide to use the HP, we do provide guidance on that for you as well. Okay, move on a little bit over here. Okay. And remember, just to go back 1 second, in terms of the calculator policy, okay, no other calculators are accepted. That's it. Okay, we often get candidates that come and say, well, what if, and what if I go to the exam and I come with this calculator or that calculator? Okay, it is not going to help you at all. Okay, and they will not even they'll let you write the exam, but it's no use having a calculator that you can't, not using a calculator. Come into the exam with any calculator other than these 2, Texas Instruments BA2 Plus, or the Professional, or the HP 12C, and the calculator will be taken away from you and you won't be able to use anything. Okay. No questions are repeated, guys. Don't. A lot of people say, well, can you try and study this from past papers? No, unfortunately not. But remember, there's only a certain body of knowledge. So remember, go through as many questions as you can. But more importantly than going through questions by rote, understand the questions and understand the answers, and that will stand you in a much, much better approach than anything else. We talk over here about our edge, it's not even triple C anymore. We've added in a 4th C as well. Okay, and if we look at what our C's are, okay, our first C, okay, is the C of consistency. Okay, and when I talk to people about writing this particular exam, okay, and preparing for this exam, it's a bit of a beast. We all know that by now. Okay, and the key to your success is the consistency. Everyday work. It doesn't have to be everyday work for 10 hours a day, but everyday work. If you're feeling terrible, horrible, and disgusting on one particular day, put in 5 minutes. And people say, well, what's the 5 minutes going to help? And it's the consistency. Okay, because if you put in 5 minutes today, tomorrow you'll get back to your normal schedule when you're feeling fantastic, wonderful, and excited to be back. Okay, so consistency is the everyday work. Okay, we then talk about commitment. Is my second. I hope I'm spelling that correctly. Everything's on Word today, so we don't check our spelling that much. Talk about commitment. Commitment is committed to this program. This is going to take you. It used to be the old 300 hours. Everyone spoke about 300 hours. My sense is it's slightly more now in terms of successful candidate. I need to spend a little bit more than the 300 hours. That's a massive time commitment. Okay. I mean, I always say, try and get as many people within your circle on board. Okay, loved ones, etc. Okay, because it is a massive commitment, and when you keep telling people that you can't go out on Saturday nights, and no, you can't go out on Thursday nights, and you can't come for tea, you can't come for lunch, okay, because why are you still studying for that thing? How long does this thing take? And then you tell them, well, this is level 1, I've got two more levels after this. Wow, commitment. Okay. My next C is concentration. It's not really the right word that I wanted, okay, but it was a C, so it worked nicely. What do we mean by concentration? It goes a little bit to Steve Jobs's way of working and thinking, and it's deep thought, okay. When we talk about concentration and deep thoughts and deep focus, you know, I'm a big believer in rather put in 1 hour of proper, concentrated, focused work than saying, well, I managed to sit last night from 8 until midnight. Wow, I did 4 hours. And what did you do? Not really sure. Okay, that's not what we want. We want deep, concentrated work for an hour, work properly, work intently. Don't say, well, I did 50 questions. Okay, well, did you understand the 50 questions? Okay, did you get good feedback on your 50 questions? Rather put in hard, deep, focused work, concentrated work, much more so than just quantity is also good. We prefer the quality. Okay. Last one, C, is often when I present to my classes, often the C that I get is that for crying? Is that anything else? I say, no, we're not going to cry for CFA. We're going to remain calm. It's just CFA. It's not a life-altering anything bigger than that. It's CFA. Is it important? Of course it is. We do want to get it. That's why we're all here. But just remember, keep the focus. Okay, keep your health about you, both your physical health, your mental health, and remember, it's just CFA. If it's getting a bit too much, talk to somebody. Okay, and perhaps what we get a lot is students defer. For example, if we're talking about the February 23 paper, well, defer to May. 3 months is not going to be the end of the world, but it may be the end of the world for your own sanity. Your sanity comes first. Okay. That's a basic look up until this point in time in terms of the CFA itself program. I hope we've given you a little bit of a look as to what you can expect from CFA Level 1 in terms of the exam, in terms of the content, in terms of the weightings of the various topics, etc. What I want to do briefly is just have a quick look here at what Edge Designations as a prep provider can offer you. Okay, and we've got 2 major programs that we have, okay, and I'm going to break those down for you. I'm going to call the very first one, because if you look on our website, okay, let's just put it up there for you, that would have been good, Edge, okay, designations.com, okay, that's our website. So if you go and look on our website, you're going to find option 1, which we call Zoom, okay. And then you've got option 2. There are many other options as well, but I'm going to work on the 2 major ones to tell you what we do. Option 2 is purely online. Okay. Now, in terms of both of these options, what do you get? So I'll start with option 2 first. You get let's start with the number 2. You get a complete, let's start with number 1. What's the best place to start? You get a complete set of notes. Okay, when we talk about the notes that we refer to over here, it's a complete set of notes from top to bottom. Every single, what we pride ourselves on here at Edge is that every single learning outcome statement is covered from top to bottom. Okay, you get a complete set of notes based on that. They're in PDF format, so they're very easy to use. I'm not a big believer in trying to restrict students with watermarks and other strange things. We like to think that our students are ethical. We hope that they all are, anyone that's involved in the particular program, and will make use, will not copy, send, and etc. So those are our notes. In addition to the notes, we've got a complete set of videos. Okay, and the videos cover the entire syllabus. Again, what we do is I work directly off my notes. So for example, we'll give you a set of notes, we lecture the videos off those notes, we give you examples off those notes. So it's a one-stop shop in terms of that you don't need to use PowerPoint slides, then go back to notes, then see what's in the videos. Notes and videos are strongly linked to one another. Okay, we've also, of course, we've got a nice healthy Q bank, a question bank. Okay, that's available there for you as well. And of course, we've got a formula sheet in there as well. Okay, that's option 2. That's the online option. When we then move across, now moving a little bit, working about backwards over here, and you say, well, if that is the online option, which seems to cover everything, okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the platform that we use and what all of this looks like in a minute or two. But let's just first talk a little bit about option 1. Option 1 is equal to option 2, but it's got a Zoom component to it. Now, what's the Zoom component? The Zoom component allows students from all over the world, wherever they are, to join us, okay, on a Zoom session, which we have once a week. Now, what does that differ from anything else? Because if you've got option 2 online, you should have everything there that you need to pass this exam. And what we say is, yes, you do. Okay, the Zoom session, when we meet once a week for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, together with the class, those that have joined the option 1 program, okay, is we take you through some of the intricacies of the material for that week. So, for example, if we're dealing with quants, I might decide, okay, let's deal with a little bit more detail in terms of hypothesis testing. Let's answer questions. It's a live session, so students are able to ask any questions that they like within the live session. It's a bit of a classroom environment that allows the students just a little bit of freedom, interact with each other, interact with me, ask any questions they like. I often do exam questions within the session to show you what you can expect in terms of an exam, what type of questions, how to answer exam sessions. But I always tell the students, in terms of option 1, in terms of Zoom, the session belongs to the students, and we can do whatever the students want in those particular sessions. So it's quite an open session, an open classroom. I don't go through the notes and the videos because, remember, I give you notes and videos over here. Okay, you've got access to the notes and videos that you can watch in your own time, go through the notes in your own time. When you come to the Zoom classes, my assumption is that you have watched the notes, read the notes, watched the videos, etc., and now you're coming for something extra. What's the extra? Any questions that you like. We do questions with you. You can ask whatever you like. It's a nice open session for everybody to be involved in. That's the Zoom session. Okay, and I'm just going to put over here, option number 3 is obviously as we get closer to exam time, okay, we release what we call our revision and exam program, which is a complete revision of the entire CFA Level 1 syllabus, and we release 6 exams, practice exams for you over there. Okay, that is the EDGE program in general. Okay. Just before, well, maybe at this point, let me hop across and let me show you what our actual program looks like in terms the platform that we use. It's a Google Classroom platform. We believe that one works very nicely in terms of it's very open. It's quite an open system. Of course, we do have some protections. We're not completely foolish in terms of that, but it is quite an open and easy system to use. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to hop across over here to the Google Classroom. Okay, let me just find that for you. Here we go. Now here is the Google Classroom. A little bit may be cut off because it is I'm working on a smart board, so a little bit of the Google Classroom may be cut off, but we'll try and give you an experience notwithstanding. You come over here, here's your Google Classroom, and what we do, there's the stream, okay. In terms of the classwork, Everything works on a little bit of what we call it a Pacer stroke Google Sheet stroke Excel sheets. Everything works off here, and everything is hyperlinked. So let me take you as you go into your classroom, and there you go. You would click on your Google Sheet over there. Okay, that brings it up. Let me just make it a little bit smaller so we can hopefully get a bit of a better picture of it. There we go. Okay. And you can see over here CFA Level 1, Feb 23. There's your introduction. There's everything over there. Let's just have a quick look over here at the quantitative methods. That will be study session 1 and 2. Okay, so look over here. Okay. And what you've got over here, number 1 over there is your topic. Okay, there is time value of money. There's your notes. Okay, and it's purely a click. So I'm just going to click one for you over there. There we go. You click that, and there is your set of notes. There's your Edge notes. As you can see, every set of Edge notes has got the learning outcome statements over there. Okay, and it's a complete set of notes. Okay, reading 1, obviously the very first one is time value of money. And there you go. It's a complete set of notes. As you can see, the notes are in detail. There are just some illustrations for you on how to use your calculator, because this is time value of money. And there, I'm not going to go through the whole thing for you, but you can see over here the notes on time value of money. They're extensive. Okay, they're an extensive set of notes. If I take you back over here, next to the notes, okay, you'll find you've got your Edge checkers. Those are our questions. Let's click on one of those for you. Okay, and what you see over there is designations, and here are there's 48 questions for you on time value of money. There we go, and of course, right on the back end of those, if I just take you through, of course, there are your solutions with explanations as well. Next to that, of course, then is your the CFA questions. Okay, here we go, some of those. Okay, we just reproduce those for you, but of course those CFA questions are available in the CFA notes themselves, as well as of course on the CFA platform, which is a fantastic resource as well. And then lastly, here are your videos. You would just again click on one of those. They're all completely hyperlinked, so you click on that and those will come down to you in YouTube format. So the notes come to you in PDF format. Our Edge checkers, we put those in PDF for you as well to make it nice and easy to print if you need it. We give you the CFA questions, but of course you've got access to those as well yourselves. And there are your videos over there. One quick link and away you go. So this is what we call the Google Classroom, and there we go. Okay. And that is just, it's a one-stop shop. It's a one-page. You click on whatever you want. Okay, you want yourself a Z table. You click over there. You get yourself a Z table. Everything on one page. We just find it's nice and easy and functional for students and candidates to make use of. Okay, and that's our major platform. There we go. Just in terms of, and I'm going to do a completely separate video for you on this, is in terms of the changes between 2022 and 2023. I'll do a complete separate video for you on that. But having said that, okay, what's happened is that there's only been 3 new readings that have been introduced. Okay, a few little changes predominantly found themselves into the way of corporate issuers. We'll talk about that, as I say, in a completely separate video. Okay, but in terms of the major content, it's all remained the same. But what they've done, which is a little bit, if I just take you, for example, let me just go back to our main page over here. Okay, now by way of example, okay, they've added in a new reading in economics. Okay, now what does that do to us? Okay, as prep providers, and for example, you look over here, so there's a new reading for economics. Okay, it's reading 13. It's geopolitics. Lovely little reading, nothing too crazy. There we go. But what that does is, because it's new, it pushes all the other readings out a little bit. So what was reading 13 before? Okay, international trade and capital flows now becomes reading 14. So everything gets pushed out a little bit, etc., etc. What we've done, just to let the candidates know, of course, is that we can, for example, when reading what was reading 13 now becomes reading 14, we don't re-record the video if there's been no changes from 2022 to 2023. We keep that video the same as it was last year. There's been no changes to it. There's been nothing that we can particularly add to that video. We thought it was really good in 2022. We'll keep it the same as in 2023, just to be reminded, of course, that you may find some of the videos refer to different readings, okay? But the content is 100% the same. It didn't make any sense to re-record 60 videos just because they changed, they added in geopolitics and moved everything up just a little bit. So you'll find a lot of our videos, the reading may be a little bit stated as the incorrect reading, but of course the content is all 100% the same. Okay, that then brings us to the end of this particular video. What I do want to do is, as I say, I'll re-record, not re-record, I'll record a new video on the changes of 2022 to 2023. And in that video, I'll go through the content, the more detailed content in a little bit more detail. But just in terms of concluding this particular video, if there is any further detail that you want, let me just leave you with some details over here. My personal email address, okay, is there for you, okay, russellj@ebs.co.za. Our web address is edgedesignations.com, okay, and that should give you enough information. Everything is there on the website, all the offerings, all the details of our programs, etc., etc. Wishing everybody the most fantastic semester, whether you're writing in Feb, whether you're writing in May, August, or November. Wishing you all the best. Hopefully we'll see you soon, and best of luck with your CFA journey.